Anti-ICE agitators are protesting again in Minneapolis as the DOJ investigates Governor Tim Walz and Mayor Jacob Frey for allegedly impeding ICE operations.
If you see these ICE agents in your neighborhood, take out that phone and hit record. Help us create a database of the atrocities against Minnesotans.
I have a message for ICE. To ICE, get the out of Minneapolis. We do not want you here.
And now, Fox News has told DHS agents with rooms booked at the St. Paul downtown Doubletree Hotel have received notice that it will close due to threats the staff was receiving for lodging immigration agents. Oh, the loving and tolerant left at it again. Joining us now from Minneapolis is Border Patrol Commander, the great Gregory Bavino. Greg, thank you so much for being with us. I'm sorry of everything that you've had to go through, and I'm deeply sorry that you have to deal with all this. But we've learned that one of your staff members was just evicted from that Doubletree Hotel. What more can you tell us about this?
Well, Tommy and everyone, it's good to see you. Thanks for having me. I received word last night from Border Patrol agents, and it's more than one staff member. It's Border Patrol and ICE, well over a dozen. They received word at that Doubletree, as well as the Intercontinental Motel, which is close by, that they needed to be out by noon today. And the messaging given to our agents was very inconsistent, no reason given, just that you needed to be out. So I had some quick thinking staff, Tommy, and we made a call to the Doubletree, and they were still accepting reservations last night after they gave that letter to the Border Patrol and ICE agents that they needed to depart. So a lot of inconsistencies and questions there.
Yeah, I just want to follow up real quick on that, Greg, because we saw what our own Bill Malugin posted about these evictions and saying that their staff feared for their lives. They were being threatened if, they were accommodating ICE agents. Have you found that to be true? And I'm sure it's happening. I'm sure they're being harassed. We've seen, many folks being harassed. But have you heard about the hotel staff specifically being targeted?
I've not heard any indication of the hotel staff being targeted, but as you know, these anarchists are starting to go out into the streets, and they are threatening American citizens. We're seeing that daily. And one other thing that we're seeing in relation to the hotels is sometimes they'll go after our tires, our vehicles, but also they go after the vehicles of anyone they think that is even associated with ICE. And sometimes American citizens wake up to find their vehicle tires slashed, damaged, and or vandalized.
Wow.
Commander, you kind of got ahead of me there. That was what I wanted to ask you about. We've seen those videos all over social media of people showing while it's happening that people are harassing them in the parking lot of places. Maybe there's a Mexican restaurant there or something, and they see a car that's a white Tahoe and it's got Texas plates. So now all of a sudden they believe that's going to be ICE. It's kind of amazing that they're just going around randomly attacking people that way. But since you addressed it, I want to ask you about this. I saw that you were on, I believe it was our network, talking about police officers that are local in Minneapolis and kind of making an appeal to them. Have you seen any of them wanting to come join Border Patrol or come be a part of the effort rather than stay at a city like that?
Sure, it's not just the Minneapolis Police Department, but several departments have expressed an interest. How do I apply? When can I apply? They want details on that. But Minneapolis, we're hearing a lot of incidental evidence that many of them are very interested or have already joined ICE and or Border Patrol. And again, Joey, we welcome them. We welcome them with open arms. We support our law enforcement at Department of Homeland Security. So if any of them are even thinking about joining or wanting to join, again, I would be happy to meet with them personally. And we welcome them with open arms. We've got a mission to do, and I believe a lot of those police officers, that rank and file, understand what that mission is, and that's securing our cities and America.
And to wrap up on that, are you able to communicate with those local law enforcement leaders? Do you have conversations with them? Are they banned from communicating with you by the mayor? Is there any line of communication there whatsoever?
The lines of communication are more at the grassroots level. Our Border Patrol agents and ICE officers do communicate with the rank and file very well. We all see eye to eye on the ground. As far as those senior leaders, not a lot of communication with the senior leaders, but you've got the Mayor Frey there that's telling police to fight ICE and Border Patrol in the streets. So I can only imagine what those senior leaders are going through at the hands of leadership like that.
How dangerous is that? Wow.
Greg, David here. First of all, thanks for standing strong, you and all those officers out there. Please stay safe. Let's go to Mayor Jacob Fry, who's defending his refusal to cooperate with immigration officials. Watch this.
And by the way, we have partnered extensively with the federal government to get the perpetrators of violent crime off our streets, and we've seen great success in doing that. We don't partner to just yank random people off the street because they happen to look Latino or they happen to look Somali. The bottom line is, as we know, this is not about safety. It's not about crime. This is about intimidation. And in Minneapolis, we're not going to be intimidated.
So, Greg, is that an accurate description of what immigration officials are doing in the state?
No, it's not. And that's a flat out lie. Mayor Fry knows that there's many individuals being held in those jails that are not turned over to ICE or Border Patrol, individuals that when they're released on the streets can continue to prey on Americans. So we've said from the very first day of this operation and operations across the United States, let us into those jails, let us take those bad people off the streets before they can get out on the streets to harm Americans. They refuse, he refuses, they've always refused, and because of that, we're now, and we've said this for a year now, we're now in the communities taking those criminal, illegal aliens off the streets. He doesn't seem to be able to get that through his head, but I don't think he wants to get that through his head.
Commander, it's Alicia Acuna. Thank you for being here. And there's a picture, I don't know if you can see it, but there's a picture of protesters standing together, and it actually doesn't look too disruptive at the time right now. However, our own Steve Harrigan was reporting that every time an ICE agent drives by, that they get bottles and chunks of ice thrown at them. And this week, a Biden-approved federal judge ruled that agents in Minnesota cannot use tear gas or pepper spray to disperse protesters and protect federal officers. How are agents on the ground dealing with this ruling?
Sure. And those protesters there, we have to keep a close eye on them. I believe there were several arrests already this morning where your scene just showed there. So as far as the less lethal munitions, we are able to utilize those. There's not a blanket ban on the utilization of those. We were already using, whether it was tear gas, as you say, CS gas, pepper balls, pepper spray, we were already using that in accordance with the law. So we're going to continue to protect our officers, protect the public, protect those rioters even, believe it or not, with the use of less lethal. Folks, that's why we have less lethal. Listen to the name, less lethal. That's why we have those types of devices, because if we don't have those, then what do we resort to? So perhaps some of these judges and these leaders need to take a look at why we have less lethal munitions, what a minimum amount of force necessary that truly is.
Commander, lastly, I saw the video. You were donning what looked like a traditional overcoat. I think that would be an excellent recruiting tool if you issued that to your rank and file. But beyond that, you weren't in tactical gear. You were in a traditional, almost uniform item. You were standing in front of your agents and walking, almost marching. It was quite the moment. What was the message you were sending in that moment?
Sure. That was, that was actually Fox News' fault, because I actually had a hit coming up with Fox News. But I do like to go to that federal facility, and I'm always out with the troops. So I happened to be there in a dress uniform. As far as the trench coat, the pea coat, the day